Hey there, thanks for checking this out. We really do appreciate it. And if you love music and you love the sharing of music, then I highly recommend you subscribe to our YouTube channel right there, which is The Strombo Show. It's the red button, but it's the button, but I don't know if you're watching on your phone or your tablet or your desktop or however you're experiencing this. Maybe it's just coming to you in your mind. But either way, subscribe, please, and let everybody know that this is the home of music. It's called House of Strombo because this is my house, and Strombo is one of the more repeatable nicknames that my friends have given me. So, against me, A Tribe Called Red, and now Mac DeMarco, all available for your viewing pleasure. We pack the house with fans, and we just throw one gigantic concert for you. Mac DeMarco, the most recent episode, and very timely because it's around Canada Day, so we're celebrating these great Canadian artists. So I wanted to give you two other artists that maybe you should dial into. One is this great singer called Iskwé, great artist. She's going to be performing in the house. And another one is Sam Patch. Now, if you went on the internet search engine of your choice and you looked up Sam Patch, you wouldn't find the band as one person. Sam Patch is actually the name of the group belonging to Tim Kingsbury. Tim is in Arcade Fire. It is always really exciting when somebody who is in an incredible band goes out on their own and puts out a side project, because a great artist trying something else. And that is who Sam Patch is. And you might recognize the drummer because he's also in Arcade Fire. Jeremy, an incredible musician. So Iskwé will be in it, but also Sam Patch, our little sampler of Canadian artists that we think you ought to dial into.
Why look up? Will you find the waiting by your side is an arrow, it's a sign, and it's pointing in a straight line. But just keep looking up above horizon. Just keep looking up. Don't let your eyes go. You're staring in the sky up high, watching all the night, listening to my words, but they're all the wrong kind. Over your head and under my feet. Over your head and under my feet. By the time I left, I thought we'd made a deal, but there was nothing left to say. We were on the wrong track. Over your head and under my feet. I can't help but think about under my feet. Just wake up. Will you find if there's something out there? It's alright. It's an arrow, it's a sign, and it's pointing in a straight line. I'm rushing, I'm in a hurry, and I'm walking in a straight line. I'm walking in a straight line because I'm rushing to get away, and I know that I'm on my way, and I know that I'm on my way, and though I'm rushing to get away, and though I'm finding I'm on my way, I never needed to know my way, I never needed to know my way.
You said the songs weren't autobiographical enough to have your name on it. Does that mean you have those songs somewhere else?
They're coming.
Yeah. What's the story you want to tell?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. It's I feel like I'm figuring that out. This whole process has been partly that, you know, trying to. I think because I grew up like you, I grew up in a heavily Christian home, and it's funny because I feel like that kind of sort of presses part of you down in a way. You know, not necessarily, but in my experience, the kind of it was kind of a heavy thing to grow up with, this idea of hell and eternal damnation, and I feel
as
like
a foregone conclusion. There was no questions about it, right?
Exactly. Like do this vague thing or that'll happen to you.
Yeah.
You know. And
have you moved past it, or is it still part of you?
I've moved past it very much in my brain.
Yeah.
I feel like it's still in my intestines a little bit.
Let me tell you something. I'm only a few years older than you, and it takes a long time to get it out of your system.
Luckily, I go to therapy and stuff like that, so that's fun. That's fun. Highly recommend.
Well, then when are you going to write a metal record then? Like, that's the best way to get rid of it.
I would love to write a metal record, yeah. And I would probably call on Jer for that as well.
Yeah. Well, we're really thankful that you took the time today, and then maybe one day get your other band in here. Bash has been in here. Everybody come in and play again.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, Matt and Tess, and of course, Bash, Jer.
Thank you so much for having us.
And you, no problem. Thank you very much. Everybody, Sam Patch.
Thank you. Me to laugh with you. Well, you were alive. No one knew you were there. But you never meant no harm. No, you never meant no harm. You said you never meant no harm. You never meant no harm. never meant no harm. No, you never meant no harm. You said you never meant no harm. You never meant no harm. No, you never meant no harm. You said you never meant no harm. But I never meant you. I accept you. You said you never meant no harm. I never meant you, but I must accept you. You said you never meant no harm. And now you're gone. Now you're gone. But now you're gone. And now you're gone. Now you're gone.
All right, so the House of Strombo continues. One of the features we wanted to give you was showcasing some other artists that we think you really ought to know and people who can rock my living room, and that's what she did, Iskwé. So we can't wait for you to watch this performance. She was also part of our Hip 30 special, which is pretty amazing. You ready?
Ready.
Iskwé, next for you.
Sometimes it's easier to walk away, like we've never known struggle when we stay. Sometimes it's easier living day by day and moving
the transition for you as a songwriter in terms of the things you want to talk about and the things that you want to represent?
I think a few things. I think age really helped. You know, I started going after music when I was about 20 years old, and I was writing songs. And I mean, I'd been doing music before that, but not anything that was like career oriented. And I think that just sort of the progression of years going by and writing and experiencing and sort of observing people around me that are close to me experiencing things, and I started gravitating more and more to like my outside community and less about myself personally, and I think that happened over time. Like I started feeling the impacts, and I'm specifically talking about, so my mom is Korean, my biological dad's family's from Ireland, but I grew up with my mom and I grew up in my community, and I really identify on that side of my family.
In Manitoba?
In Manitoba, yeah, so I'm from Winnipeg. And I found that over time I just started feeling the impacts of, the racism that Indigenous people experience in Canada, that impacts and that slides down through generations, and so I just my outlook on it changed, and it became more about what I wanted to talk about, because I got tired of experiencing sadness in my community and sadness in my family and all the different things that come along with that. So there's like endless chats I could have about.
Was it building in you, or was there a breaking point?
Both. I felt it building, but I'm very fair skinned. I have freckles. I have blue eyes, and a lot. When I was a child, a lot of folks didn't accept me on either sides of my background, right? And so I think that's a common thing that people of mixed backgrounds experience, and so I don't think that's unique to myself. So it had been building to feel that confidence to be able to speak out on things as an Indigenous person, being like, hey, yeah, I've got some freckles and I've got some blue eyes, and you're going to just have to let that go because this is who I am, this is where I came from. But then on top of that, there was a breaking point where I went home to Winnipeg a couple of summers ago, and 2 days after I got there, one of our young community members, whose name was Tina Fontaine, had gone missing, and then 2 days after she'd gone missing, she was found in the river. And she is one of over 2,000 Indigenous women in this country that have been going missing and or are being murdered. And I say over 2,000 because the number is much higher than what the RCMP is representing. And I think that's because a lot of community members are saying, hey, my family member has gone missing or has been killed, and it's suspicious. And all of the cases aren't necessarily being placed within this,
Right.
term. However, the community recognizes that there's way more. And so when we lost Tina, I didn't know her personally, but I know my community, and I know my place in my community. And I watched my community fall apart, and then I watched my community come together, and we all met down at the spot where they found her body in at the forks. On the river. There was a spot, a little dock, and so there was thousands of us, and we all went there and had a vigil for her, and then walked from this section of the city down to the forks in Winnipeg. And the forks, the whole thing about Winnipeg is it's founded on these where the two rivers intersect, so the Red and the Assiniboine. And it was a major trade post, and it was where communities came to meet and exchange and so on. And there's a monument there for our missing and murdered women. So we walked from this point where Tina's body was found to this monument, and then had a ceremony. And it was thousands and thousands of people walking down Portage in Main, which in Winnipeg is a pretty big street. And it wasn't just Indigenous people. And so that it was, like Winnipeg was there. And I felt like, yeah, we've got a bad rep for a lot of things. We're a pretty racist place, and we can be, rough. We can be a little bit rough. But at the same time, I think that there's a lot of caring and compassionate people there, obviously. And I think that is, kind of the flip side of what I was watching. And so it hurt in my spirit, but then it also made my spirit feel stronger. Mm-hmm. And through that, I felt much stronger in talking about these issues. I felt like, it's something that needs to be discussed, and why not be the one to talk about it, or one of the people to talk about it?
And what do you find about the artist's responsibility or role now, how that's changing? You're noticing more and more people in the community who are talking about these issues and making music?
I don't know that there's more of us. I often wonder if we're just being heard differently now. So I think that we have had a lot of revolutionary artists throughout time, you know, one of the biggest ones being Buffy Sainte-Marie. And she's been doing this for decades. And I think that what's happening now is that a couple of things. I think that Native people are cool in a sense, right? There's a lot of stuff with our culture that is considered cool in pop culture now. And along with that, there's a segue to have these conversations. And so I think that people are shifting in that. And because of that, the music that's being made and the poets that are writing and the authors and the actors and the political folks and everybody who's, you know, being an activist in whatever capacity that they are, I think they're being heard in a different way as opposed to being new.
What are you going to play for us now?
we're going to play a song that I actually wrote inspired by Tina and all of our missing women. It's called Nobody Knows.
This is the one that we played. It was produced by the Darcys, right?
It's produced by the Darcys, yeah.
Very cool. All right, here we go.
Great.
Iskwé.